Hello, hello. Thank you all so much for having me, for allowing me to be here with you to share some thoughts and ideas from our side. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I hope you are having a wonderful conference and you're learning a lot and you're taking a lot of really fruitful things to take home with you. Um, my name is Nicholas White. I'm the co-founder, managing partner of the Smart Building Collective, which is the institution behind the Smart Building certification. So we've been working for the last few years to build a robust certification that allows us to measure and manage how well technology is being used in buildings. I'm also the co-founder, managing partner of Lab, Learn, Adapt, Build, which is very much the research side of things. What's going on? What's driving people? How can we enhance performance? How can we make sure that we're doing the right things at the right moment with the right people? I encourage you all to connect with us, connect with me. I would love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear discussions from your side. We're here. We would love to collaborate and work with you. Smart Building Collective was founded in science, it was refined by practice, and it's constantly optimized by our network of experts. The thing that we're seeing in smart buildings is that it's evolving. It's evolving quickly, it's evolving all the time. Uh, Everybody does it differently. Everybody's trying to understand and figure out how to do it better. So the smart building certification is supporting that process, and it's really allowing buildings to be acknowledged for what they do well and work on things that are potential improvements or opportunities. So that's really what we've been doing from a certification perspective. We're here in order to help people and organizations navigate and change the relationship between humans and buildings through data and technology for the improvement of the environment, people's lives, efficiencies, and economic results. So it's about figuring out what's going on well, what are areas for improvement, and then as a collective, as a community, doing this together. No one organization can do it alone. We're a strong believer in working as a group across disciplines, across industry, to make sure that we're moving the industry forward. And what I'm here to talk to you about today is ESG. And what we tried to do with the title of the talk was trigger some thought, right? We haven't grasped about what we haven't grasped about ESG and SMART is that they're not something that you buy or report and the job is done, right? Once we've done ESG, we're finished for the year and we can wait till next year. Like taxes, right? Nobody likes taxes, but every year we have to do it. And is ESG the same thing now? So what we're trying to change is that grasp of what is it? And what we see is that they are a journey we're on. It's about continuous exploration. It's about striving for improvement. And it's doing so because it's not for reporting purposes or for valuation purposes. It's good for the environment. It's good for people. And in the end, what the argument I would like to make today is that it's good for business. You can actually make a lot more money doing this stuff effectively and efficiently rather than only doing it as a write-off to the authorities. So that's what we want to talk about today is how can we look at ESG a little bit different? What haven't we grasped about it? And as we see our global consciousness about ESG evolve, I think we're going to see some really exciting things moving forward. So, I mean, you all have seen these things before. The alarming statistics is that 20% of emissions are from the operations of buildings, from the real estate sector. And the reason I'm talking about operation is because that's really where we work, right? Smart Building Certification, Smart Building Collective is all about the operations of a building. So that's kind of the number that we're focusing on for this talk. But one of the other really interesting things is 47% of ESG emphasis. So if you look at the three pillars of ESG, 47% of the emphasis is actually on environment. So people are really worried about the environment. People are really worried about climate change. And so that's actually getting a lot of the push. That's just an interesting thing for us to take on board, because I think a lot of the reason ESG is coming to the forefront is for this reason. And the third stat that I think is really interesting is 76% of consumers say that they'll stop working with companies that don't take these things seriously. And I think that that's just a phenomenal number to be thinking about. And do they care about our reporting of it, or do they actually care what we're doing? And I think that's the difference that we would like to explore today. So if you look at these three stats, right, what do they have in common? What do they have different? One of them that what's really important to think about these things is that from a business perspective, from how our companies are being influenced from outside views, these cover the whole spectrum. It covers off exactly what is driving the industry. And what's driving the industry is that institutional investors understand that without the consumer, so 76% hacking off because you're not doing ESG in a meaningful way, that's important to them. The environmental impact is massively important to them as well. So institutional investors are starting to put a lot of pressure on our builders, on the people responsible for real estate, to improve what's going on there. The state and municipal laws are coming into place, right? We have massive ESG laws coming into play here in Europe. Also, the entire European taxonomy rules. So taxation and laws are all coming into place, also putting pressure on real estate to take these things seriously. Real estate funds, these are absolutely at play as well. Commercial tenant demands. People don't want to buy bad product anymore. They don't want to buy product that is not sustainable. ESG reporting strategies, so companies being able to report on ESG, the tax credits and incentives that are available for real estate and for buildings, and asset managers. So all of these organizations, all of these communities, all of these stakeholders are really putting a lot of pressure on real estate to take ESG very, very, very seriously. But what's interesting is, how are we taking it seriously? Of course, it's making sure that we are ESG compliant and we're reporting on it, and we're able to tell the story to these organizations of how we're doing it. But is that really the best way to do it? Is that the most fruitful way to do it? Is that the most profitable way to do it? And that is the argument we would like to make today in this discussion. And I'd love to discuss it with all of you, because I think it's a fascinating one. But in essence, it's about moving ESG out of its department role as a side product to the business, and bringing it into the core business. So it's time to change the paradigm from having ESG as a burdensome act that we have to conduct on a yearly basis to make sure everybody's happy. All of those stakeholders we just spoke about are happy with what we're doing. And it's time to embed it in all of the core business that we're actually running. And that's really where we see massive potential, because the moment you bring it into the core business of what you're doing, what you measure improves, what you manage improves. So that's really what we see as the next step in our our global consciousness, is that ESG is no longer a washing exercise of, let us tell this story of what we're doing so well. It's actually doing exactly that. of course, come from the smart building space, right? So the digitization of real estate allows us to measure and manage every little aspect of the business. So when we say bringing it into core business, it's about bringing it into your governance structures. It's about bringing it into your business models, into your strategy plans, because what we actually measure and manage can be improved. So we need to get our KPIs right. We need to be ahead of the curve. You know, if you look at the regulation every year, it's going to increase in pushing us forward. So get ahead of that curve and make it actually a value differentiator, actually putting you ahead of the pack. So let's not wait for regulators, but design them to enhance our core value propositions. And then what we need to do is think holistically. So break down the silos, work from the center outwards, and it shouldn't be a department, but rather embedded in every single business process. So when we think about that, it changes ESG completely. It actually makes it fundamentally a part of how we are doing business. Because in the end, ESG can be a catalyst for business results. It can actually enhance our ability to make revenue gains rather than have it be a burden and a cost. And what do we mean by that? Well, what we mean by that is that, you know, if you're producing a superior product because you're managing and measuring all of the different aspects in your business flow, you're going to get better revenue, but because your consumer is no longer willing to buy a substandard product. So by enhancing your product in every way, you will have better results. You can reduce your cost by measuring everything in the built environment. You can bring down the cost. A perfect example of this is historically we've thought for health and well-being for our users, pump as much oxygen as possible into the building. In doing that, the cost is astronomical. Yes, the health is good, but the cost and the sustainability of it is at a minimum. And what we've seen in research is that that's actually not necessary. We can actually much more effectively ventilate our spaces without compromising the health and well-being and the performance of people, whilst reducing our cost and increasing our sustainability. So these are just an example of if you measure it, if you manage it, if you research it, you can actually bring these things into perfect equilibrium whilst being better for the planet, still being great for your users. Another thing about building ESG into your core business, into all of the different departments that you're working with, is if you are ahead of the pack, that regulation that comes every year is not going to be an issue anymore. You're not going to have to pay every time that there's a challenge. You're actually going to be able to be ahead of the curve and benefit from that. So your legal costs and your administrative costs will come down. Another one is improved performance. If you have a superior product, healthier, more sustainable, your people are going to be happier with you. You're going to have a better chance for the war on talent, getting good people in and keeping them. So that's your organizational performance will definitely improve. And then finally, investment, getting money. Bringing in money, getting the right investors, they're much more likely to invest in a superior product. So make your product superior, make your product sustainable, make your product healthy, and the ESG becomes quite easy. And smart technology, smart building really can help that. Very quickly, I know I'm out of time here. But the SBC framework, what we've done is we've created a model, a framework that allows us to benchmark smart. So benchmark how a building does this versus others. And that allows us to uncover opportunities. The collective is to share expertise, learn from the market insights, innovate collectively, move things forward, and then matchmake. So if you don't know how to do this, come talk to us. There's a ton of people in our ecosystem that are here to help you all. And in the end, smart building is about making sure that we measure sustainability, not just talk about it, but measure it, reduce costs, win the war for talent, make sure that we're measuring health and making health better. In the end, that's going to improve the valuation of your building. So that's really what we're all about. And SBC was born out of the need to bring education, knowledge, sharing, academic research, and all of these parties together. So we welcome you to come and be a part of this process, learn from what we've learned from the buildings we've certified and the solutions we work with, and get in touch to learn more. You can find us at smartbuildingcollective.com. You can also link to me on LinkedIn. I'm always available, and we would love to work with you and hear what your thoughts were about this presentation as an example. Take care, enjoy your conference, and till next time.